Welcome to our February council meeting, and at this time, I'd like to ask you to stand and join pledging allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, we need to approve the agenda. We did make a decision to remove some things from the original agenda. You want to cover that, Eric?
Yes, sir. What we're asking for on the agenda this evening is to add item 8H to get authorization from mayor and council to move forward with a Lowe's Hometowns grant application. So we'd ask to add item 8H. We're asking to remove item 8D, which is to consider first reading of the annexation case 2024A02. We're asking to remove item 8E, consider first reading of zoning case number 2024-R-03. The reason for the removal of those two items is to allow the completion of the Cartersville Street impact study for the road impact from this development that is going to kick off on the 18th of this month with Cherokee County staff and our staff to conduct that assessment, and also then to allow council in work session to review that data along with the data of the traffic count information that was received and I think sent out yesterday afternoon or this morning, but to allow more time for council to review that information.
Okay, so could I have a motion to approve the agenda with adding H and removing D and E?
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we have the agenda approved, and this time we're going to move on to hear from James, he's our accountant that has been with us for how many years? 17?
I didn't look back at that, but
Well, he's been with us a long time, and we're always glad to hear from him because he always gives us a good report on the quality of our financial reporting. So welcome.
thank you. Good evening, Mayor and members of council. My name is James Spence. I am the engagement partner for the city's financial audit, and I'm here to discuss the June 30, 2024 audit. I believe you have two documents in front of you. One is the smaller one is what I'm going to flip through. It's our auditor's discussion and analysis. It's our document that we prepare for the presentation. I'm not going to read every page and just kind of hit some of the highlights, but certainly feel free to interrupt and ask any questions you may have. The other document is the document that your management prepares. It's your annual comprehensive financial report, which is what we give our opinion on for the audit process. So if you'll flip in our auditor's discussion and analysis, just a couple of pages as a refresher. I do come before you all once a year, so I know we see each other fairly frequently, but maybe just enough to refresh on who Malden & Jenkins is. And so you'll see here, Malden & Jenkins, we are a regional firm. We have 14 offices in 6 different states. Your audit's conducted out of our Atlanta office, and we have, as a firm, we have 25 partners and directors, myself included, who spend year-round working with local governments. And so we work with about 750 local governments throughout our footprint, and it's an industry that we have a very high dedication to, and it's not something we kind of do as tax season filler work. This is a industry that we are very heavily committed to and serve a lot of time and invest a lot of time into. All of our partners have you have an engagement partner, and then we have a quality control reviewer that we try to rotate through those partners and directors. And this year, Ryan Jones served as that role for us. Sorry, these are going to fall. On page 3, we have our kind of what we'll call our airline summary. So as a quick recap, we are your external audit firm. our responsibility is to conduct an audit of the financial statements that your management prepares. We do so in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards as well as government auditing standards, and the objective is to issue an opinion as to whether or not they are materially correct as presented by management. We don't give absolute assurance, and we don't test every transaction. We do conduct our audit in accordance with those standards, and through that process, we did issue an unmodified opinion on the 2024 financials, stating that the numbers provided by management and the information provided by management was materially correct as presented. I'll flip over to page 5. Just a couple of items I do like to note. We did have a few minor audit adjustments that were proposed and are included in your financial statements. And as part of that process, we also, as far as an audit goes, we requested significant amounts of information from your system and from your management team. And I am happy to report we did receive full cooperation and full agreement with the audit process from your management team. So certainly much appreciated on our side. It certainly makes the audit process smoother when management is in full cooperation with the audit process. I'm going to jump over now to page 7, and we've got a few financial highlights that I just want to call out. Real quick, just to kind of reemphasize, the financial report that the City of Ball Ground does it's got that long name. It's called the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. This is more than you're required to do under state law. You all have done this for I should know that off the top of my head, but for a while, for many years, you've prepared an ACFR. This includes an introductory section and a statistical section, which provides about 10 years of historical data on the city for the readers to see. And so it is more than you're required to do under the state audit requirements. And it is a nice feather in the hat of the city that you all do this and put this information together. So I say this each year, but I do commend the city on continuing to do this. It is just an extra little bit of work outside of the requirements for local governments in the state of Georgia. On page 7, some highlights just to kind of touch on here. We've got your general fund that we're looking at some of the revenues and expenditures for the year. And you'll see here, very typical of a municipality, your general fund's primary revenue source was what is categorized as property taxes. And if you'll look on page 8, we've got kind of a better breakdown maybe for you on what your tax revenues were broken down for this June 30, 2024 fiscal year. You'll see the real estate portion of your taxes has increased over the last 5 years. But what's nice to kind of take into context there is you'll kind of see the notes on the right side of the page. Most of that is driven by the fact that assessments have increased by over 200% over that same time period, and we've had a population increase of 150% in that same time period. The actual millage rate that the city has levied for that time has decreased from 4.7 to just under 4 mils. So while decreasing the millage rate, due to assessment and value increases and increase in population, the revenues for the city have continued to increase. So always kind of important to keep in mind the drivers to the trends you see. Also on there, you'll see we have had in the last couple of years a growth in the business tax line there. On page 9 is just another bar graph of the same information. Again, you'll kind of see the actual big blue bar there is the property or the real estate tax number that we've looked at. And on page 10, we just looked at how the revenues have come in over that same period of time. For your general fund, obviously you all utilize a SPLOST fund to handle a lot of the road and public works type improvements. So your pie chart may look a little different than other municipalities if you were to compare yourself to someone without the SPLOST dollars. But you'll see general government and public safety are really your big pieces of what your general fund pays for. And so that's the operation of the police department as well as just the general operation of the city itself. On page 11, you can see here the trend. We've got a graph kind of showing what your annual expenditures are each year and how your fund balance relates to those annual expenditures. Kind of the important item to take note you do have about 93% of your fund balance is available for appropriation, meaning it's not tied up in prepaid assets or restricted assets. It is available for you to use. So what you have in fund balance is it's considered unavailable fund or available fund balance. And then on page 12, we've got a few items here dealing with some new GASBs that are out this year as well as coming out in the future years. Really, the only one that I want to kind of point out, just because of the potential impact it may have, it's very minor compared to some of these GASBs that management's had to implement over the past 2 to 3 years now. But this next year in 2025, there is a change in how GASB defines compensated absence, which you all have already included in your financial statements, but previously it was defined as unused vacation or PTO time. And now they're broadening that bucket to include any accumulated leave or time off that employees are given. And so if you have, floating holidays or any other type of time off that employees are allowed to carry forward at the end of each fiscal year, the city will now have to assign a dollar value to those unused days and increase that liability. It's not intended to be a liability that will be liquidated, but just, again, GASB's trying to capture the full picture of what liabilities the city does have at any point in time. So that will be one that we work with management to make sure that that's addressed and implemented before the end of June 30, 2025. And it probably will not have a significant dollar impact, but it will change some of the compensated absence that you all do carry in your financial statements. The last item on here, just to point out, I'll touch on real briefly. Each year, as just a reminder, we do provide free quarterly CPE to our clients. That includes members of governance. So if you're not currently on our listserv to receive that email invitation each quarter and would like to receive it, please just let me know, or you can let Donna know and she can pass along your information. And we'd be happy to have you attend any of those training sessions we provide. They are typically accounting related. So if you're not interested in that, then I won't take it personally. With that, if you all have any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Where does the training take place?
It's all virtual.
Oh.
So at your house.
I'll be at your office.
No, you don't have to go anywhere. We send you an invitation and you can log in wherever you're at.
And this is when was the audit done? Was it?
We were done in November. I think I had a conflict on maybe the December meeting, and then January it ended up we're presenting now, but we were done in November and issued and out the door by the deadline of December 31st.
Okay. Any questions?
Excuse me.
So do you think we'll get the certificate of achievement for excellence in financial reporting another year?
I certainly do.
That's something that we've received for 17 years.
17.
Is what, and that's outstanding for a city this size. I think we were probably one of the smallest cities that received that. But again, because we actually have more accounting done than required at state level. I think that's enhanced us getting that award we received now for 17 years, and hopefully we'll get it for
Another one.
Okay, anything else? Eric, anything?
Yeah, I'd just like to point out a couple of things. And like you said, James has been with us a long time. But one of the reasons that we selected Malden and Jenkins is, although he's the senior partner that looks over us, the firm is so large that we get fresh eyes on our financials every couple of years. We don't always know who's coming in the door. It's not James. He reviews this at the end. He's our go-to all during. We get fresh set of auditor eyes almost every year, but at least every other year for people looking through. And as you know, when people have processes, everybody's a little bit different. So it always keeps our folks looking in different areas and being prepared in different areas. But we appreciate them, professional organization. And just want to point out too that everything that we always cover in the meetings, and police department's got some cool stuff tonight, and we'll show you cool stuff from water. And there's nothing cool about finance. And don't tell my wife that because she's an accountant. But they keep it together for us. It's not one of the things that we celebrate all the time, but they watch everything. The thing I love about them is there's not a single employee they haven't irritated. They want a receipt, they want the backup documents, they want everything they have to have, and without it, we don't have the successes that we have. Like point out, Donna, phenomenal job all the time. Darlene, been with us a couple of years now, and Darlene can track a penny all the way across City Hall. It's wonderful. And Pat, if you'd put your hand up, Pat worked with us for years, and she's our go-to when we need help. Still, Pat comes back and helps out. So just a big kudos to our finance team. They make everything else possible for us. So appreciate them.
Well, that's good news.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate your joining us and updating us on the last audit. When will the next one be?
We plan to start interim work in May, and the actual testing starts in September.
Okay,
Yeah, don't make her cry tonight, but
all right. Okay, thank you so much.
thank you. Thank you all.
Do we have anybody's address to speak? Okay. All right, at this time, go to Eric for announcements.
Two major things. We have 21st, a week from tomorrow, is Arbor Day. So we'll be planting some weeping willows out at Calvin Farmer Park. Did you want to do that at 9 a.m. or 10? Or did you want to move it to our retreat day and do it all at once?
Well, there's a possibility that I might not be able to be there at 10 a.m.,
Okay.
but it's probably better if I'm not there because we have all our council members here are so active in Arbor Day. But if we could do it at the time of our retreat, I mean, we're going to be right there.
We could start the morning out at the retreat and everybody do it the same day.
Is that all right? Would that be okay?
Yeah, because I won't be there for 21st.
Okay. So we'll make that change, and I'll let Mr. Blanton know.
Okay.
He's getting the trees for us.
And again, those willow trees are going to be placed kind of near where you talked about building a bridge over so they'll look nice there. So anyway, that's what, if that's all right, Vicki, all right with you? Okay.
Okay, so we have two events now on March 1st. We'll do our Arbor Day tree planting and have our planting retreat. That'll be at the Senior Center. And the only other thing to add, I'm sure everybody saw tonight, but City Hall, the backside here did flood last night. So we're in the process of remediation for that, and hopefully start getting back together by the end of next week. Hopefully they'll start putting things back together.
And that came from the post office? Didn't drain?
Yep.
You don't want to say anything?
No,
Okay.
got legal handling that.
All right. Okay, thank you, Eric. At this time, let's consider approving the minutes from January the 9th. You have received those, council members have. Any comments or changes? Okay. Motion by Scott. Okay, motion by Scott, second. Dennis? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. And this is your first approved minutes, right? Uh-huh. So, good job. We appreciate how fast you do it too. Good. Uh, At this time, we don't have any old business to deal with tonight, so we'll go to new business and item 8A, consider first reading of derelict property blot, the blight ordinance. And we've talked about that at our planning, our work sessions, but you want to give us a summary?
Sure, this is adoption of model ordinance, comes through Georgia Municipal Association and has been reviewed by our legal counsel. It just adds a couple more tools to our toolbox as we try to deal with some properties that are substandard. This goes an extra mile. There's a lot of levels to be met here, but on the more severely blighted properties and unsafe properties, after about a year of notification and failure to conform, the city can take action to increase the property tax millage rate up to 9 times current levels on that dwelling, to spur the property owner to get it in the condition that it needs to be. Once compliance is achieved, the law requires us to roll the millage rate back to below standard rate for a 5-year period.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
But once a property is deemed blighted, and if we increase the millage rate, how can that be done? Do you have to, is it a 30-day notification, 60-day notification, before the council approves to have the millage rate increased on? Or do we have to approve it? Is it automatic?
It's not automatic. From the time we notify the owner that we intend to start remediation, corrective action under this ordinance, they have 12 months in which to comply where we can't do anything. So at the end of the 12 months is where we can say, okay, we'll make notification, we're increasing. You have an option, you can only go 7 times, but you can go up to 9 times the millage rate. So we would notify the owner of the property by certified mail that action has been taken. We would then have to notify also the Cherokee County tax commissioner, because they're the ones that put it on the tax bill. So it wouldn't, timing is everything, because the tax bill only goes out once a year, but by the same token, the tax assessor has to have the information by the 1st of June, the tax commissioner. So we'd have to have it to them by the 1st of June. So say we have a property that hits its 12 months in October, you're still a year away from actually raising that millage rate. A lot of steps.
Okay, well, we again have discussed this at work sessions, and at this time, could I ask for a motion to approve the first reading?
Motion to approve. I'll second.
Okay, motion made, second. Any further comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that's the first reading, and the second reading will take place in our next meeting in March. Okay, the next item under new business, consider the first reading of changes to the zoning code. This has to do with the public hearing we had right before this meeting. I don't think everybody was here for that, so Chris, you want to just give a summary of what this will provide or require?
Yes, sir. We did kind of a wholesale editing of the, 107, chapter 107 in our zoning code, which is parking and traffic requirements, editing for things like spelling, grammar, all of that. The biggest addition that's not been in the code is guest parking. Mr. Wilmarth has it on screen here. These are proposed requirements for any new development after the effective date, following the second reading, would have to add parking spaces for guests in addition to kind of the baseline parking requirements they already have to comply with currently. These are kind of broken down into different tiers. So your more dense developments, for example, the Ryman townhouses off of Old Dawsonville Road, have to provide a greater amount of guest parking, and then your lower density developments have to provide less or no guest parking. We made some updates to the general parking requirements chart. That's for things like offices, restaurants, how many parking spaces are those required to provide for their developments. It's just kind of a cleanup and to make sure we're covering all the bases.
Okay, well, that will actually be better and safer for us for new developments. So at this time, can I ask for a motion to approve the first reading?
I make a motion to approve the zoning code division 107 traffic and parking standards.
Okay, motion, second. Annette, any further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. And again, this will be this is the first reading. We'll have the second reading next council meeting. All right, at this time, we'll move to item 8F. Excuse me, item 8C. Support of Cherokee County's safe streets. This is something we've been asked to do, and you want to summarize that too for?
Sure.
Yeah.
Safe Streets for All is a program that's led by Cherokee County. All the municipalities are involved, but it looks at especially the fatality accident and serious injury accident hotspots around Cherokee County. There's two fairly near here to Ball Ground, none right in the city limits. But they're asking us to support it, be involved with it. The hope is to eliminate traffic fatalities by 2030. But with having the county and all entities on board, it increases their ability to get grant funding to correct some of the more dangerous highway areas. The biggest one in this area is just north of us, going into Nelson, where the connector goes off towards 575. It's where we've had the most fatalities in this area, but just so that they can help get funding to correct what's identified as the most dangerous areas.
Okay, again, I'm going to be saying this every time we discuss these things in our work session. So at this time, this is something requested by the county. So could I ask for a motion to approve a resolution to support Cherokee County safe streets? Okay, Ned, second. Dennis? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Sounds like everybody voted for that. I won't say any opposed. Next item is we'll move now to item 8F. Consider adoption of an intergovernmental agreement with Cherokee County Tax Assessor in regard to House Bill 581. Again, Eric, you want to summarize? You've got it in front. You've got it on the screen.
Yes, sir. House Bill 581 last year created a floating cap on homestead properties in the state of Georgia. What this does is there's only a certain percentage people are used to seeing their reassessment every year, and the values just go higher and higher. This new process caps on a homestead property how high that property is allowed to increase in any given year. It comes with a lot of other rules that are kind of complicated, but by each year, our residents get their new assessment notice, and they get their assessment notice. It says last year's value may have been $500,000. This year's value is $600,000. The city's millage rate last year was this much. Your new tax bill is going to be this much. Everybody sees it and says, wow, my taxes really went up, because it's the same millage rate applied to a new inflationary value. So the law now states that the city will need to provide the tax commissioner with an estimated rollback. That estimated rollback is what the tax assessor is then going to send out on those new assessment notices. the scary part is the way the state has laid this all in motion in the law. We don't have the digest at the time that we're trying to create this estimate. So we don't really have anything. So this agreement is that by April 1st of each year, the tax assessor is going to provide us with an estimate of where he thinks the inflation is going to be. So say he thinks that we're going to have a 17% inflationary increase, we're going to then need to try to calculate a millage rate that reflects that rollback. That's what goes out on the notice. If we miss that number and we say our new millage rate is projected to be at 3.5 mils, say after we run the numbers, we need to be at 3.6 mils, then we have to put a notice on the tax bill saying, hey, we messed up and got it wrong the first time. We told you 3.5, but we're doing 3.6. But we had to pick dates, and we had to pick dates in time to have that all in by the time the tax assessor is required by law to mail out the reassessment notices. So I think there'll be tweaks coming to this legislation in the coming years to try and get dates to line up better so you really have information. Probably the safest thing to do right now is not deviate much from what history has been. We can look at it when we get the numbers, but there's nothing wrong with using our existing millage rate. At any rate, this agreement says he'll give us an estimate by April 1st. We'll give him an estimate by April 15th. And if we fail to give him an estimate, he will mail his notices with a preceding year's millage rate. So
this was put together by the legislature,
yes, sir.
and so we have to.
It is good, my opinion. It's good legislation. I think it's good. It creates the boundaries for both the taxing entity and the assessor. It just has some tweaks that need to be cleaned up a little bit to make it easier to process. But for our customers, I think it's really a good piece of legislation.
Okay, well, we do need to go ahead and approve this for the that HB 581 adopting the agreement. Can I have a motion to do so from a council member?
Motion to approve House Bill 580 agreement.
Okay. Christine, Scott, any further comments or questions?
Eric, is GMA taking the lead on this to try and get those dates lined up?
It's more the association of the tax assessors, because they're the ones that are really been hemmed in by this. And so they're working more through their organization.
I agree with you. It's good legislation, but the dates are just.
Right.
You're just guessing.
Right.
Okay. All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Every city has to be dealing with this, right?
Yes, sir. The law also provided the ability for cities and counties to opt out of this legislation and not partake in it. We didn't do it in a meeting, but we polled mayor and council, and everybody wanted to stay in and be a part of this to keep that inflation from just escalating on our homestead properties.
All right, let's go to item 8G. Consider adoption of a resolution acknowledging the city of Ball Ground's participation in the PTSD insurance plan. This is through GERMA. Again, Mr. Expert, give us a summary.
No. PTSD insurance is an unfunded mandate by the state of Georgia. It's a legislative action from last year that requires municipalities and counties to provide PTSD insurance coverage on all first responders. For us, that will be our police department. The county picks it up for fire and EMS. We have already engaged GERMA. I think I already paid our first premium, not mistaken, but now they want a resolution that we are committed to being with GERMA for it. I guess the check wasn't good enough. But this is very unusual, and I haven't really had a chance to read it. More came out on it yesterday, and we'll get it out to the police department. But it's set up in a way that nobody here at the city is supposed to know. So our officers will have the information, chief will have the information, but like we'll never see a claim come through like we do on some items. This is a confidential and thing with the first responders. So unless an officer wants to share it, we'll never know if any of our folks ever use this or not.
Okay.
I got a question. Eric, do you see, the fire district tax changing because they're now gonna have to fund the firefighters here in the future?
I don't want to speak for the Board of Commissioners, but they were pretty solid last year that they didn't want to be asking for an increase again this year. So I think we will see the fire tax hold steady or even roll back a little bit, because the commissioners in the different meetings I was in were they wanted to give fire what they needed, but we're kind of like, we've been growing and escalating. We need to hold it, so we'll see what happens this year.
It's a good thing. Guys see a lot.
Mhm.
Well, GERMA is that's where our policy is with for the city.
Yes.
So I'm glad they're able to offer that as well. So we're need to pass this resolution to confirm intent to do the PTSD through GERMA.
I'll make the motion that we approve it.
Okay, motion second. Any further comments, questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, that's done. And the final thing under new business is the low hometown grant.
We're asking for authorization from council to submit a grant application to Lowe's Hometowns. They will only be awarding 100 grants in total. We're asking for $70,000 for a $90,000 project for the creation of a splash fountain in Calvin Farmer Park. We have a private donation towards that already for $10,000 to go towards that. And then the city would put in $10,000, which is a impact fee eligible expenditure. So just asking for authorization from council to submit the grant.
Okay, let me ask for a motion to approve authorization.
Motion to approve.
Okay, second.
One second.
All right, any further comments or questions?
I do have a question. Is this gonna be, you said 100 grants will be awarded, is it gonna be nationwide or just?
Yes, ma'am.
Nationwide?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you gonna be submitting to the national office, or is there a state, local office that you'll be submitting to?
I don't know. It's an online portal. So we've already got our logout and our password, and we'll just submit it through there. So
It's their home office.
How long will it take to, do they say?
they want to know that we could complete the project prior to November of 25. So I would think they would turn around pretty quick. They want the projects to be able to begin by June 15th. So I think we'd get a pretty quick notice whether or not you're selected.
Just keep our fingers crossed. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we look forward to getting won't say splash pad. Is this will be something for kids to play in water, and I think it's going to be a real hit.
Adults.
I think it's going to be real helpful for our Calvin Farmer Park to have another thing for young kids to play in. So, all right, at this time we've covered all our new business to deal with, and now Eric, you want to give us an update on what went on since our last meeting?
Yes, sir. We're pulling up, Chief Gianfala will lead us off, and he might want to say a few words while I try to figure this out.
First off, thank you for the PTSD passage. 20 years ago, you were looked at as weak or not built for this job if you needed to talk to somebody or, had to express something. Today, you're looked at as human beings. So that's very much needed, especially in today's society and today's workplace. Hopefully, our guys don't need it, but unfortunately, we're exposed to some things that honestly we have to talk about. So thank you for passing that, and we will use it as we need. Was already given some information already that came down the line from one of the council members, so I'd already got a head start on reading up on some of it, and it is going to be very, very positive. So again, thank you. It's been a hard week. City of Roswell just buried a 24-year-old boy for doing his job. And as I tried to prepare for tonight's meeting, I can give you numbers and I can tell you where we're at and all this, but a lot of times people want to know, what are you really doing? What goes on? So with the week we've had, it's been, it's tough. Hell's right next door, and evil has no boundary lines. Evil doesn't care about city jurisdictions. Evil doesn't care about county jurisdictions. Evil has no boundary. So as I thought about it, I said, you know what? I need to show people what we really do. Sometimes when we get to this job, it's not the prettiest, but you need to see what we're doing. You need to see what your tax dollars pay for and what we're doing in 2025. It's a lot different than what I was doing in 1993 when I started. These gentlemen will tell you we're in a different world. We're in a world of technology. We're in a world of we're thinking and having to prepare 3 steps ahead. My good friend and our sheriff was kind enough to allow us into their training environment and allow us to be exposed to the things that we have at a moment's notice, that we can call upon, that we can train with, and that if anything happens, whether it's in the city or in the county, I need that support. We need that help here for our residents. We have it. Not only do we have it, we practice with it, we train with it, and we're part of it. So I want to give you just a little glimpse tonight. It's very, very short, but I think it's going to be impactful on what you can expect if something happens and what we're giving you in this county as far as training. And when you ask, well, are they prepared or what would happen if? I just want you to just take a couple minutes and watch this, and then we'll talk about it.
We're using cameras at the intersection. We're using license plate readers. We're using drones. We're using robots. And all of this technology combined helps us on a daily basis be more effective and efficient in our response to crime and incidents throughout the county. But it as well prepares us for any simple incident in which we may face. So the use of this technology allows us to provide actionable and insightful information to first responders. Sometimes before they even get on scene, they're able to feel safer because they have an idea of what the scene may look like. We will have oversight of our drone. It is our goal where officers on the road will understand I'm headed to an incident. I already know somewhere in this operator's room, they have eyes on the scene. They're already telling me I've got injuries, I've got soul loss that's involved, I need 3 records. So this is helping us not only better prepare for any situation they may be involved in, it helps us with traffic management. We're going to be quicker on clearing roadways. We are doing school license for certain incidents. Again, it provides an efficient way of policing in which we have every second of in doing so, we're also going to assist fire and EMS for 911. And basically, use this technology, camera methods, as well as drone footage to assess future weather events. We're able to again assist fire and EMS by flying our thermal drones over a large mulch fire, which we can target hotspots and fires.
Where you're-
Extinguishing the fire in a quicker manner. So the RNA is our next project. It's a real-time intelligence. This is going to be a central hub where we're able to monitor not only crime, we're able to monitor weather events if needed. We're able to use body-worn cameras and live stream drones and live stream robot dogs to provide eyes with our on scene that can show us things that we might not be able to see. Our next mission is to use the technology we already have funded in a way that provides us what we need to provide the best information to those responding or those on scene. This is a renovation of a current building in which we will have a video wall that lines one wall in which, again, these camera infrastructure and all the technology is in one central hub. So when an incident does happen, for instance, at a school, and an alarm is pressed, immediately cameras fill your screens, you know, eyes, and immediately on what could be a critical incident. An incident that happens in Cobb County or even in the South. We have an active shooter and he's leaving his car. We're able to immediately tap into not only our camera infrastructure, but our neighbors. We have mutual aid agreements with Fulton County, Atlanta Police, Cobb County, because it makes us better. It makes us better for each and every public safety incident. It makes us quicker. It makes us, whether it's providing something in real time or going back and recording and realizing the facts of the incident and providing an investigator with a vehicle description and how it's the intersection. Those details that we can capture could be crucial in solving crime.
Thank you. I say all this because you've heard about school cameras, you've heard about traffic cameras, you've heard about flock cameras. We've got them off the interstates and everybody's worried about Big Brother watching us, worried about government, worried about what the police are going to see. But yet we don't care when we pick up this. Okay. knows what China and everybody else is listening to when you pick up the phone. Be more concerned about that than a safety camera, okay? Those cameras are there to help us solve crimes. I would say, the sheriff and I were talking about this today, if the technology we have today was present when we had that spot shooting, the sheriff truly believes he might have either prevented the Atlanta attack or could have got that gentleman even faster than we did. And it was interstate cameras that helped us get that guy after he did the acts that he did in Atlanta. So please understand, the men and women in the Ball Ground Police Department, Cherokee County Sheriff's Office, they are not sitting looking at a computer screen wondering if you got your seatbelt on or if you're speeding or if you didn't use a blinker when you came off the interstate. Okay, but if you're committing a crime or you're hurting somebody, we're going to use that footage to catch. We are using technology and we are fighting crime in 2025 a heck of a lot different than we did in 1993. That young lady on that screen is not a certified police officer. We are trusting individuals that are analysts that do this for a living, that project and predict how these events are going to happen. And they are spot on. They are spot on. And it's a whole different world we're dealing with. We're using robots and drones. Sheriff has just got approval to get $200,000 worth of drones where when a call comes out, it's going to fly from one area of the precinct to where the call is. And it will beat the officer there. And it's going to be run by an 18, 19-year-old kid. And he's going to drive the drone there. And we all have laptops in our car. We will have footage in our car before we even get to the scene. Now, from an officer safety standpoint, I'm going home at the end of the night. If I can see what's in that or on that crime scene before I get there, you don't think I'm going to feel better when I get there? Because I can see the dangers. I know what I'm walking into. That's what law enforcement in 2025 is. So please relax when you see these cameras. You're law-abiding citizen. I'm glad that everybody came out tonight. And I'm just luck of the draw that I decided to do this tonight. But please understand that Big Brother's not watching you. It's protecting. It's if we need that in that time of need, we have the technology, we can get things going. We're trying to get 2 and 3 steps ahead. So please understand that. All right. Thank you.
All right. January, our fund balances took a little dip. We've been paying a lot of bills. General fund is at nearly 1.6 million. Reserve right now splossed at about 309. Fire, which is a pass-through. Again, you see this on your tax bills. We collect it, but every dime of it is remitted to Cherokee County for fire service and EMS service within the city. Utilities is dropped down to 924. Big expenses that we've been working on there. Our January revenues and expenditures. Our total revenues were at 409, expenditures of 454,000. Year to date, our revenue is 3.8 million against expenses of approximately 3.2 million. Administration draft budget's been presented to Mayor Roberts. Been working on the House Bill 581 issues. AT&T FirstNet scrub. I think I told y'all Darlene could track a penny across City Hall, but we're now substantial savings in that monthly bill. This is through the state contract for first responders. They don't like seeing her coming anymore, but she's trimmed off around almost $500 a month in communications bills for us with the same level of service. So another kudos to her for a good job there. E-Verify and Save training that we've been going through. Capital projects. We've been waiting for this one. The roundabout is out to bid. Questions are due by February 27th from potential bidders. We owe them answers by March 4th. March 13th at 10 a.m. will be the bid opening, and we anticipate being able to do the bid award on April 1st. I hope that alignment with April Fool's Day isn't somebody playing a trick on us, but we're about there. So we're excited to get this project actually turning dirt. On the State Route 372 spur and bypass, we're wrapping up the data collection and phase for all of our NEPA requirements. Studying the terminus options now where the road comes back in on the east end at State Route 372. We are on target now to begin right-of-way acquisition in 2027 and on target for construction in 2020, state fiscal year 2029, which actually begin in late 2028. So very excited. Talked with Representative Jaspers again the other day. Remember, and he chairs transportation and says he's going to make this happen. It's going to be our deal. So he got us the money for engineering. He got us the money for right of way. So no reason to believe he's not going to continue to fulfill that promise if he all can. Mountain Brook Sidewalk Extension. Construction is in progress. Unfortunately, we're going to have to spend some more money and relocate a water line. Our contractor will begin on that relocation tomorrow morning. He estimates it'll take him 3 days to do that. We're also assessing right now and talking with Cherokee County about the possibility of installing rectangular rapid flashing beacon crosswalks on Old Dawsonville Road, where the alignment is for North Mountain Brook and South Mountain Brook Drive, and for the creation of an all-way stop. So our residents currently stop, at Mountain Brook coming out onto Old Dawsonville. So this would make the traffic on Old Dawsonville stop. Then there would be a crosswalk installed at this location so the residents on the South Mountain Brook side have safe access to the new sidewalk that is on the west side of Old Dawsonville. Groover and Civic realignment. Pricing has been obtained for phase one. We're waiting on the pricing on phase two. I think we're about $5,000 short of funding phase one entirely with grant dollars that we received for this intersection improvement. So we'll be out of pocket for a few $1,000s and then whatever the asphalt cost is when they pave. So we should have those numbers this week. Northridge Road extension. This road should be striped tomorrow morning. Next week, they'll relocate the crosswalks or relocate the stop sign under the state code where the city street now connects to the state highway. Under the new standard, a stop sign cannot have street signs on it. So there needs to be 2 signposts. One post can have the street names. The other one, nothing can be on it but a stop sign. So we'll get that changed around because we have everything on one. On water and sewer, if you know where it is, you know where it is. We don't show you pictures of the outside of the building because we don't advertise where it is, but the expansion now is complete. It's kind of nice for the guys to have room to move around, but also our electrical and our chemical is now separated. So this is the chemical room on the left-hand side. If you notice, this is, well, back up to that slide. One of the other nicer things about it is with a building that's not from 1934, 35 anymore, we actually have exhaust fans to help pull the chemical out of the room so that when they're in there, they're not dealing with chemical. And if you see on the item right here, the tank to the left, it's sitting like on a black square. That's a new set of scales. We're required to take measurements every day by poundage on how much chlorine goes into the system. The Mountain Brook connection, Fire Marshal has approved that since last month. Pulte has acquired the property they need now to be able to have the entrance off the Jordan Road. The verbal agreement has been reached with Pulte and Cherokee Water and Sewer Authority. Cherokee County Water and Sewer Authority will be installing a new line on Jordan Road, upsizing the line that is there. Pulte will then bring that line through their new development, connecting into Mountain Brook, and will elevate pressures there. It'll also give us the third option for feeding our largest residential neighborhood. So if both lines from town are interrupted, now we've got a line that we can bring in from the north. Sewer force main and vault, that was being done the date actually of the last council meeting. That project is now 100% complete, and timing was good because it's already been put in use for some issues we're having right now. So we've been able to put Howell Bridge back as the main lift station, and Sage Hill is only operating that one small neighborhood. Showed pictures last month of the manhole that we were losing out there at, it's the receiving manhole from the Mountain Brook lift station, where the hydrogen sulfide, and for those that weren't here, with everything being low flow fixtures now, the solution to pollution is dilution. So we don't have any water anymore because everything is low flow. Means we're getting a tremendous amount of gas in the sewer system, and it actually eats the concrete in the manholes and whatnot. So what happened with this particular manhole, on the left, you see it's set up for small space and confined space entry. This yellow is a hose providing fresh air to the worker that is in the hole. This is a 17-foot deep manhole. You can barely make it out on the right, but the white here is actually a worker in his suit down in there cleaning the interior of the manhole. Picture on the left, you can see how pitted and bad that concrete is. The further you go down, there was actually 4 inches of concrete completely gone to where the dirt was exposed on the other side. The picture on the right shows as they're starting to come up, they've put 2 inches of new concrete on that, have rebedded everything, and I think they're still out there right now this evening getting the epoxy lining on this manhole. So this manhole will be good for a long time. Again, we talk about water sewer rates. This one repair is a $56,000 repair on one manhole, but again, due to the hydrogen sulfide. Other notable issues, water and sewer rate increases have been proposed in the new budget and be presented on March 1st for consideration to mayor and council. License renewal for our water system was denied by the state because we submitted too early. They don't like the fact that we were early. Our license expires June 30th. They want us to resubmit April 1st. It took them 7 months to tell us to resubmit April 1st. So you're always hesitant to just give them 3 months to approve you, but we'll comply. It's hard to believe, but our lift station capacity study is almost 3 years old. So we've reinitiated that and begun a new study just to make sure where we are with our sewer capacity for each lift station. Showed the chemical room earlier. PFAS samples. You're going to hear us talking a lot about this in the coming months. Samples have been collected and submitted to EPD. We do anticipate the results of that by middle of the week next week. There's a lot going on in the state with this right now, but PFAS are forever chemicals. It's found in paints, nonstick cookware, stain-resistant products, firefighting foams, just a lot of different areas where these chemicals come from. They're known to cause cancer and creating a lot of problems in water systems across the nation, including right here in Georgia. And this isn't to throw any of these under the bus, just trying to show how close this is to home. There's nothing you can do as a water utility to prevent these chemicals from getting in your system. But once they're there, you have to treat them and be able to remove them. So the closest to us is right down here with the city of Woodstock. They're positive for PFAS above levels in 3 wells. So they're already in a filtration process and setting up filtration on their wells. DuPont just had to pay the city of Rome $45 million as part of the process because of the damage done to the Rome water system. We're hoping we never find any of it here. But just, there's a lot coming on this. We volunteered and we're not required to test until 2027. The legislature is trying to appropriate funds to help small systems pay for the testing. But it's just something we want to be in front of. We're paying for the testing ourselves earlier than we need to, so that if anything is detected, we can address it earlier than required by law. Also this month in water, UCMR testing. We really don't know what all contaminants pop up in water every day. Everything that leaches in from landfills or wherever and makes its way in. So these are called the unregulated contaminants. EPD doesn't have limits on them yet. They don't even know where they are. So we just collected samples on this week. It goes to a lab in California for testing, but this one was really unique because they send you a video and tell you what your collection team can wear, can't wear. They can't use hand lotion, can't use certain colognes, can't do this, that, or the other. It's kind of like get up and come to work with no bath, don't put anything on or do anything, put on the rubber gloves and take the sample, because they don't want anything from the skin, from the hands, from your hair or whatever being able to contaminate that. And then they'll evaluate these samples for everything. And how many bottles was that, David? 10?
There was 8 in one bag, and then there was 3 separate balls and bags that we had to invert.
Yep.
Make sure for water.
And you have to have 2 people. One's allowed to reach in. One has to hold the bag open. The other one can only reach in. The other one gets to touch the lid.
It is a challenge.
It's bizarre, but it's so that they can examine the water for anything and everything. Kind of nice on this, we're lucky for water systems our size, serving under 3,300 customers. Only 800 nationwide were selected for testing, and so we're one of the lucky ones. But it's good. It tells us if there's a problem we need to be looking at and addressing, we get to know. So it's good to be on the front end. So we test now, 6 months later, regardless of what this sample shows, 6 months from now, we'll test again. If we look good, then we get a 5-year reprieve. Parks in downtown. One of the things we spend money and sometimes don't get to go back and look at it. City Hall flooded. We had roads covered in all kinds of stuff. We had banks that sloughed off. But last year, one of the issues and complaints we had is that our playground, after it rained, you couldn't use it for a week or a week and a half because it was nothing but a mud puddle. This is that playground this morning. Those drains took everything out. You could walk across it. There was no squishy. Everything worked. Kids could play on it immediately. So it's a project that was done that not only looked better, but the problem was taken care of. So City Connection proposal, wanted to ask council for some money this evening. We had a meeting of the Parks Committee and Downtown Economic Development Committee yesterday. What we'd like to do in City Connection is replace the slate dust with brick pavers. That can be accomplished for $70,000 to do all 3 levels. We have a grant for $35,000. We would like to use $25,000 from the impact fees that are being paid in for parks. And that would leave $10,000 to come out of the parks line for special local option sales tax. The brick mason actually has an opening next week. So if we ordered tomorrow, he could have brick on site by Thursday. It'd be about a week and a half long project, but it would allow the project to be completed prior to a lot of activity there in the spring and summer months. So it was the request, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it is the request of the committee, correct?
You want us to approve it?
Please.
Motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, that's $70,000 from 35 from grant, 25,000 from impact, and 10,000 from SPOS. All in favor?
Aye.
Good. That will enhance it. Park sure will.
Yep.
Be easy to keep clean too versus slate rock that, it's a mess.
We've ordered 4 new benches for downtown. 4 to 6 weeks is the delivery time on those, but also for this spring to have more seating area in the downtown area.
Will they be bolted down?
They're heavy enough. They're just like the ones we have there now. Takes 2 men and a baby to carry it, so we've never had a problem. So
Big baby.
this is very, very similar to the new crosswalks that will be installed downtown. Crosswalks, the signage has come in, so it's now on hand. Our installer will be out next week for winter break at school. They're leaving town. They will start installation the week after next. So the week of February 24th, we'll start to see the new crosswalks signage going in downtown. Yes, ma'am.
Will this have the buttons on both sides of the road?
Yes, ma'am.
And I've had a lot of people, one had actually email and responded back to them about why they're missing. They were under the impression that we took them down, but would you tell us again what the number one culprit is?
Number one culprit is getting run over. So there'll be a little bit different placement here. Then we've also had a couple that our team had to remove because they became unsafe. Anything that you put on the state highway system has to be what they call a breakaway. If a vehicle hits it, it's designed to break, just like our street lamps. They'll break in a heartbeat because they're supposed to break and snap away. The current crosswalks that we have, the signs, the breakaway turned out to be a horrible product. They don't even make it anymore. It's on a swivel, and it's got Allen screws that hold it and straighten it, and that's the breakaway and shear point. Problem is, with all the truck vibration we have through downtown, you can't tighten them. It flops around. And when it comes to the point where you can't tighten it, we have to take it down instead of it falling on a pedestrian. But most of them have been hit. They can come right over them. We've think 4 have been hit along with 2 street lamps this year. So other general information, our downtown folks have been conducting social media classes for businesses, trying to them how they can promote their business and do things with social media. Designing and pricing kiosks, which once they have something, we'll take back to the downtown committee for selection. Business meetings and getting community feedback. And we have had an employee reassignment. We reassigned an employee from water sewer over to downtown. And he's got the daily responsibilities of just, one of the feedbacks we had is cleaning more, keeping the sidewalks cleaned off more, cleaning between buildings, just doing things, cleaning the city connection park daily, those types of things. So Joe Ingram has moved to that area, and just a couple of things he's been working on, and we've got some things to work out, but started on the process of lighting downtown street trees. And also in between buildings, our plats are kind of unusual. Some of these areas between buildings, nobody owns it. The plat for the old city hall is the building. The plat for the building next to it is the building, and nobody owns that little piece of land between the buildings. So we claimed it. Joe cleaned it up and has that looking good. So he's working under Ashley and taking care of those things. But he's got this figured out. We ordered the rest of the lights last week. So they should be in this next week, where he can finish all the downtown trees so that they'll be lit continuously. Community development, not a whole lot of change since last month. Still working on projects under review. Cowart Heights, the Ball Ground Highway Towns, the Gilmer Ferry project, Pendleton Smith Douglas out on Jordan Road. Been working on the updates of zoning code for parking, which you read tonight, the nuisance and the blight ordinance, House Bill 581, evaluation of host and its impact on ball ground. We've shared some of that with you, but right now it looks like host would be good, very good for our customers, and probably very good for the city as well. For those not familiar, host is a homestead option sales tax. Cherokee County plans to have that on the ballot in November, but if approved, homestead properties in the county would see their county M&O tax disappear. So it's a pretty thing. It would be a 1 penny sales tax, but homestead properties would no longer pay a county tax millage. That would go to zero. And then continued upgrades on GIS. And just want to say, Chris does an awesome job with GIS, and this next slide's not going to do it justice. But if you get a chance to get on the city map and look around all the different layers that have been added, red is right there. It's the sidewalk layer. So you can zoom in and see all the places that we have sidewalks, and we use this to plan where we want to connect and infill sidewalks. And we're real excited that here before long, we'll connect that sidewalk on out to Mountain Brook and be able to show that piece of red on there. But there's a lot of great information. Really encourage you anytime you have a chance to get on that city map and look through at those different layers. Building permits, there were 6 issued in January compared to 11 in January last year. And this, a little bit hard to read, but this is what's out there right now of active developments and total number of approved units. Currently, out of those 622, 106 permits have been issued. And that's all, and that's probably enough, but.
Okay. I mean, you will ask questions if you have any. So anything you want to ask of Eric? But thank you. You sure handle a lot of things.
Well, these folks handle a lot. I put it on the slides. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We're going to be meeting the first day of March for our retreat, and looking forward to that. And historically, we've always had just one retreat each year, and we're now having 2 a year, and that's actually going to allow us to work together better, I think. And so we do have that plan for March 1st, and he mentioned the Arbor Day. We're going to do that same day. So that will be. I might add that I think we just got our 35th acknowledgement that we're a tree city. We're a tree city. We're the first tree city in Cherokee County. And we just got our 35-year, it was 89 is when it started, got through 35 years. So that's exciting. We'll probably bring that up at the tree planting too. So anything, Scott, you want to bring up today?
just invite everybody to go see some of the new businesses that have just opened recently. And there's some more that are about to open, and go visit them and welcome them to the city of Ball Ground. We need thriving, good business downtown and along Highway 5. And I'm happy Valentine's Day tomorrow.
That was
Vicky?
nice too, Valentine's Day tomorrow, but I do want I did want to say, when Eric was giving his reports, I was looking at it, and you know, it's really, really nice to have our people of Ball Ground, businesses of Ball Ground that are interested enough in our city to come here and to find out what's going on. And I know we have the option, I guess we're on camera too, so video, YouTube. Anyway, to listen in and to take an interest in our city, because that really means a lot. And we're here working for you guys. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you again to all of our city workers. Make this city tick. You know, if you see them out working, say hi to them. They sure would appreciate it. Tell them they're doing a good job. It's a dangerous job. It's dangerous for the police department. It's dangerous for the water department. And they come here and they do it in the middle of the night or, you know, early in the morning, cold, hot, it doesn't matter. And we have a fine administrative staff too. Congratulations, Donna, again. Darlene, thank you. And Caitlin, y'all make it all come together. Make us shine. Appreciate it.
It's true. Kristen?
I'll keep it short. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you for
Yeah.
coming. Happy Valentine's Day and special kudos to the finance department for keeping us awesome.
Mr. Attorney?
I have nothing.
Anything? to bring up?
Fortunately for the city, no, sir. We're all good.
Okay. At this time, would anybody like to address us on any issue? That's we're welcome to get your input if necessary in public, or you can do it individually if you want to as well. But we appreciate you attending. What's interesting is we're becoming bigger crowds here at our council meetings, and it looks like we're gonna probably have to start coming up with way to add more seating in here, because when we built City Hall, opened it in 2009. For years, we had like 2 or 3 people in here. That's all that were here for meetings. But now, as we've grown, we have a lot more people interested in our city and attend. So I think we're going to have to come up with a way to increase the size of this room. But appreciate you being here.
See a balcony.
For sure.
That's interesting. Okay. All right. Well, at this time,
I make a motion, we adjourn.
we'd like to adjourn.
I'll say.
Okay. All in favor?
All right.
Okay. All right. We're adjourned. Thank you. Thank
I'll
you.
get it. That's for those in.